And we have a follow-up next to the deadly fire in Old Montreal. Families of some of the victims are speaking to CBC News. Sarah Levitt joins us from Montreal to talk about her exclusive interviews. Sarah, we know the families endured agonizing waits before they knew for sure their loved ones had died. What did they tell you?
There's, Chris, a lot of raw emotion coming from these families. No doubt they've lost their loved ones. In all, 7 people lost their lives in this fire that happened on March 16th. That ripped through an old heritage building in Old Montreal. 9 people managed to get out, but as I said, 7 didn't. But the issue here was that at first, firefighters believed only 1 person was missing. They said that it was a longtime tenant, but the issue was that they weren't sure how many people were inside because there were illegal Airbnbs being rented out inside. And over the days of this investigation, as firefighters picked through the rubble, it became clear that 7 in all were missing. And over the next week and a half, it became clear that those missing were, in fact, dead. And I sat down with the sister of one of those victims, Nathan Sears. He was in town for a conference. He was an academic. And she just explained to me a bit about what those first few days were like.
It was obviously the most difficult time in all of our lives because the first few days were extremely confusing and chaotic. We couldn't get the information that we were looking for. Nobody was keeping us in the loop. We didn't know what was happening, and every time we went to the building, which was essentially all day, every day, we weren't seeing movement and action.
And Chris, I also sat down with the parents of another victim, Anne Wu. They had quite the journey to get here. It took them 4 days, in fact, because they live in Tongling, China. They had to apply for a visa to get here and then actually do the traveling. And for them, I would say the emotion is still raw. She was born under the one-child policy, and they said that they had done everything through their life for her to achieve her dreams. She was a neuroscientist studying in San Diego. The father told me in pretty emotional words that for him, Montreal is considered a place of heartbreak and indignation.
It's heart-wrenching. Thank you for that, Sarah. The Quebec government will hold a public inquiry into the fire. What are the families saying about that?
So they're happy. They think that they will get some of those questions that they have answered. As the investigation, it is ongoing, but after this fire, we got a few questions answered in a way. We got some information about what had actually happened there. So, for example, that the Airbnbs being rented out were in fact illegal, that somebody who was staying in an Airbnb who managed to escape said there were no fire alarms or smoke detectors that went off to warn them, and then they got out just in time. So a lot of questions here. Another family of one of the victims said that they were told that she made a 911 call saying she was in a room without a window. So lots and lots of questions, and they're hoping that this inquiry will answer those. Meanwhile, there's also a class action lawsuit, but let's hear from Brittany again about her brother, Nathan Sears.
I really feel like those days at the site were some sort of long funeral that we went through for Nathan and for all of the victims.
And the Sears family has in fact applied for a class action lawsuit on behalf of all the victims. In it, they name they're seeking damages from the building owner, the person renting out those short-term rentals, as well as Airbnb. They haven't ruled out naming the city in that suit as well. Meanwhile, the official investigation into this fire and what exactly caused it is ongoing. Chris?
Appreciate your reporting on this, Sarah. Sarah Levitt in Montreal.